movie about a friend.
Now you're going into the tunnel.
In the 60s and 70s, motor racing was dangerous. From my point of view, I don't believe I would have given anybody else the access that I gave to him. And because we were friends, I trusted him implicitly, so I knew it was going to turn out to be
Why would you expose yourself like that anyway?
Yes, but also it was a privilege
to
work with somebody that clever. I mean, Roman, you know,
he brought so much to the table.
And it's always nice to be with the best people.
Yeah.
It's a thrill. And that's one of the nice things about coming to be successful, you know that.
Mm-hmm.
You hang out with people you would never normally ever have had the opportunity of meeting. So Roman was one of those people, and the people who caught, you know, he caught the Beatles there. Now, George Harrison became one of my best friends ever, and I still know Paul very well and still know Ringo very well. But they were there, and it wasn't put on for a film. They were there.
Yeah.
So was Joan Collins. At her time, at that time, she was a big movie star, and there was all sorts of other people there. Nobody noticed it, but Roone Arledge is in the shot.
Really?
And he was the best man in television sport that's ever lived.
Yeah.
He created Wide World of Sports.
Wow.
And they were doing the race that weekend. And the last person I spoke to when I got into the race car to start the race, in fact, was Jim McKay. And the first person I spoke to when the race ended was Jim McKay, because we were doing it for Wide World of Sports, and I had just been put under contract by Roone, who was as brilliant at what he did as Roman was at what he did. But you know, that's a sidebar to the whole thing. But I think the film, for the racing buff, they're going to look back and say, "My God, look at that! There's no barriers in front of the
fuel,
and there's hundreds of gallons of fuel waiting to explode." If a car had gone off the road and all these heavy guys that Colin Chapman and Ken Tittle were standing there,
they would have been
wiped out. You know, that was
how about
the
the sidewalks?
Yeah, the sidewalks were curbs like this. Now they're all chamfered so that if you run over them, they don't damage the tires or the wheels. You know, we couldn't do that. The liberties couldn't have been taken. And the death. You know, we were killing. In 1 year, we killed 4 guys in each consecutive month from April. Jim Clark died. On the same weekend, and in May, Mike Spence died. And the same weekend, in June, Ludovico Scarfiotti died. And the same weekend in July, Joe Slessor died in front of us all every time. And we're still racing.
Well, I really felt the fear in your wife's face. So I think Roman was such a fan, not only of Jackie's, but of the sport. So I think it's important that a filmmaker, you know, whether you're a documentary filmmaker or just a narrative filmmaker, if you have a passion, it talks about passion, if you have a passion for a subject matter, and you dive into it, and whether you spend 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, I think it's going to be for an interesting film if you really are making something that is a subject that you're really passionate about and care about. And you could tell that there was a love that Roman had for the sport. He was intrigued by it. He was asking all the right questions. He understood the emotionality of the experience of going through, spending a weekend, that weekend, and capturing that one weekend during the Monaco Grand Prix, what his perspective was, how he was feeling. You didn't seem sick, by the way, not when you were shaving. I know you had mono and you've been on 86 trips, but you did not seem ill to me. But you know, his wife, you know, and so it was cinema verite, really. It was putting the camera there and doing what the Maisels have done on so many occasions. What I didn't know about Jackie, which of course I knew, you know, a lot about his career, but what I didn't know is that he was a major advocate for safety. And I think that is, you know, the reason why the sport has changed. I mean, this film is historical, and the reason it's historical because it captures a time when, you know, people were dying. When, you know, it was probably the first film that race that had a camera, a film camera. Now they have cameras this big they can put on the cars. They were mounting a film camera on his car that was designed aerodynamically, you know, and with the weight balanced and all this stuff. And they were literally, and he still won the race. And I heard that his brakes broke on the
warm up lap.
So it's like, you know, it's like when you know, when these athletes win Wimbledon and they got a broken toe and diarrhea and they've been, you know, a fever of 103, and you only find that after, you know, when you're in the thick of it and when you have a passion for something like he did for racing.